Welcome back to the Nintendo News Roundup. I'm Arlo. Let's look at some Nintendo news. Wario Land 4 for the Game Boy Advance is now available to play on Nintendo Switch Online. And you know what? I'm pretty excited. I mean, like, I don't know. I've always wanted to play the Wario Land games. I don't know if I, like, really should start from the beginning or what. But man, Wario Land 4. Game Boy Advance. That's when graphics peaked, in my opinion. Game Boy Advance, it's the exact perfect resolution for a video game. All of the pixel art from Game Boy Advance, I don't know, it just looks so good. So like, yeah, every single time I see any screenshots from Wario Land 4, I love it. It just looks so incredible. And of course, I've only heard amazing things about the game. So, yeah, that's exciting. Nintendo's music app has also been updated. It now includes the soundtrack for Super Mario Bros. 2, which is, come on, it's the soundtrack for Mario 2. Pretty big deal. And also, excitingly, 3DS's Street Pass Mii Plaza. Like, the whole entire soundtrack, like, all of the songs for, like, Puzzle Swap and Find Me and all that stuff. It's like a ton of songs. That is very cool. It's good to see them including soundtracks from all over the place. Yeah, you've got, like, the super crazy classic, eternal classic Mario 2, and then just, like, the songs from the Street Pass stuff on 3DS. I think that's very nice. Nintendo Alarmo was previously only available to purchase for Nintendo Switch Online members, but Nintendo has just opened up the ability for anybody to purchase the product on their website, and they are also selling it at Best Buy in the US. So congratulations to anyone who was not a member of Nintendo Switch Online, but really desperately wanted to spend $100 on an alarm clock. Mine's still in the box. It's right. Hold on. Where is it? Yep, there it is. It's right over there. I'm gonna make that video one of these days. First Four Figures, well known for creating some fairly expensive but also very, very cool video game figures. They've done a lot of Metroid figures in the past, and now they're doing a new one. It is the Metroid Prime Phazon suit. This is the Phazon suit that Samus gets in Metroid Prime 1. It's a lot simpler compared to the various suits that she would get later throughout the Prime trilogy. However, is still just the coolest thing, you know, just like still just like one of those like images where you look at it and there's something just happens in your brain, and you just like, I don't know, just so overwhelmingly cool. It's a really good looking figure. And, you know, as usual, their like deluxe early model has like LED light up stuff just to make it even cooler. Oh, there's a light in the arm cannon, like the Phazon beam. Oh, okay. Oh boy. How much is that? How much is this gonna be again? Someone on Reddit has shared screenshots of what is allegedly a leaked conversation with a black market seller claiming to have a retail model of the Nintendo Switch 2. We have no idea if this is real or not, but if this is to be believed, this person is looking for a little under $40,000 for a Switch 2. I wonder if they still have it. I'm trying to think. Could I generate at least $40,000 worth of clickbait videos if I was the only person on YouTube who had a Switch 2? Would that be worth $40,000? I don't think so, but you know, might as well try, right? Yeah, how many videos could I put out before Nintendo just like literally just like sent an assassin, you know? Like we gotta just straight up take this guy out. Like the actual, like literal Nintendo ninjas that I assume must exist for situations like this. In other Switch 2 related happenings, analyst Joost van Druinen, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, is pretty darn confident that Nintendo is gonna price the Switch 2 at $399. I mean, pretty much across the board, we all agree that that's the right price. So this isn't really like crazy news or anything. However, I really do like the analyst speak he uses. Based on current market dynamics and platform positioning strategy, Nintendo is likely to price the Switch 2 at $399. It represents a critical psychological threshold that balances premium hardware aspirations against mainstream market accessibility. At this price point, Nintendo would maintain its traditional positive margin on hardware while positioning the Switch 2 distinctly below rival premium gaming devices, yet above the original Switch's launch price. It signals a meaningful technical advancement without alienating its core family demographic. Well put. Very, I mean, that really is all it right there. Like, it really has, it sounds like a lot of babble, but like, that really does sum it up very nicely. Psychologically, it just maintains a balance. It gives you enough of an impression of like an advancement over the original Switch, and like it gives you confidence in the hardware while not kind of creeping too close to the price of the premium high-powered competition. No, he's got it. In a press conference, President Furukawa had a couple things to say about the whole tariff situation, which I am certainly not going into now and barely understand myself. But basically, he just said they're not too worried about it, and they're, thinking of ways to respond to it. They're predicting various geopolitical risks and establishing ways to respond. He says Switch is not only manufactured in China, but in places such as Vietnam and Cambodia as well, and it may have something of an impact on their bottom line in the immediate, but not really long term. He says, while we anticipate a certain impact, the influence on this year's financial results is expected to be minimal. So, that's good. Nintendo has renewed a bunch of trademarks. A lot of them have to do with Zelda, covering various products. A couple other basic things. Home video game consoles. That's a pretty important one to keep up on. What if they just forgot and they let it lapse and it's just like, sorry, you can't sell those anymore. But most notably, they've reviewed the trademark for the official Nintendo seal of quality. Could this mean changes are coming to the seal of quality? I don't know. Nintendo used to have a Taiwanese subsidiary, but they shut it down back in 2014. And Nintendo Hong Kong has been taking care of things in the region since then, but now Nintendo is reopening a Taiwanese subsidiary. So starting at the beginning of the next fiscal year, which is coming up pretty soon, there will be an official Nintendo of Taiwan. So that's cool. In interviews and on podcasts and whatnot, Xbox's Phil Spencer has been talking about how Xbox it pretty much just is going multi-platform. You know, they're saying, like, just expect to see Xbox games on other systems in the future. They've already been kind of toying with that, and now they're going full speed ahead. So more recently, he's been talking about how going forward, we can pretty much just expect to see the Nintendo Switch logo popping up in any given Xbox presentations, which is very funny. It's very weird. It's very surreal. In Xbox's own presentations, they will be advertising that you can play their first-party Xbox games on Nintendo. I've been meaning to make a whole video about the whole Xbox multi-plat thing. I guess I need to do that pretty soon because this is crazy. Nintendo Life recently published a really amazing interview with legendary Nintendo developer Takaya Imamura. He's probably most famous for Star Fox, but he worked on loads of classic Nintendo games and was with the company for a long time. So I'll put a link to the interview in the description of this video, but I just wanted to point that out because it's really, really great. And one of the highlights is that he caught up with Miyamoto a few years after he left and was like, hey, long time no see. But then told him it didn't actually feel like it had been a long time because he's still seeing the man in his dreams, which is great. I could imagine that working with Miyamoto, I feel like he would have a way of kind of seeping into your brain, especially in that like stressful, like elder-driven Japanese work culture. I feel like he's probably gonna be dreaming about the guy for the rest of his life. Reddit user Demure Sao made a post about how a fire broke out in his house. Most of his belongings were unfortunately destroyed in the fire. However, there was a little stack of Switch games, and all the plastic was like melted and fused together, but he managed to pry apart every case. And he found that the game, like, cartridges themselves, perfectly fine. Tested every single one, Perfect working condition. Classic Nintendium at work, as it should. And props to the top comment on the Nintendo Life article for getting a laugh out of me by saying, "Do they taste better now?" That's good. Now you got Nintendo Switch cartridges now in smoky barbecue. And I just now noticed that comment was posted by Joey Nader 3000, who's someone who's been following me forever. And whenever I see him, I say, hey, that's really funny. Small world. Not strictly Nintendo news, but the eShop store page for Hollow Knight Silksong temporarily disappeared the other day. It went down for a few hours and everybody was just freaking out and wondering what it could possibly mean. And then it just popped back up again. And I don't think anyone knows why. I'm convinced it's just part of the game. It's part of the whole thing, the whole shtick. Tweeting about cake, you know, like, and just like, hey, you know what'd be funny today? Let's just take down the shop page and see how long it takes him to realize. Yeah, and then we'll just put it back up again and say nothing and just see what happens. Just see what people can possibly glean from this. I would believe anything at this point. Mario and Luigi Brothership has received an update. It's been updated to version 1.0.1, and a little bummed to see they didn't make any, like, substantial changes. It's really just bug fixes. Yeah, it's just a list of bug fixes. There were a couple soft lock problems and whatnot, and they seem to, I mean, it's really great. Good to squash bugs. But I don't know, they're just little things, you know, little like performance issues would have been nice to iron out. And then of course the whole thing where you can't just make Mario be A and Luigi B, and it's kind of confusing and weird, and it really would be a very, very simple change, and every single person would love for them to make it, and yet they just kind of don't. So yeah, I don't know, disappointing, but whatever. Limited Run Games previously printed, actual NES cartridges for Rugrats Adventures in Gameland and Pio Pow, but it seems that it has now come to light that these cartridges may cause permanent damage to your NES. The story was broken by John Riggs, who's a good buddy of mine. He's one of my con buddies. You know, one of those guys you bump into at cons and you have a good time. You don't see each other outside of the cons, but like, you're still great con buddies, you know? He's got a YouTube channel, check him out. Yeah, he got an email from Limited Run Games telling him to, you know, stop using the cartridges. Fortunately, the company is offering to replace cartridges for free or issue full refunds, and they are currently looking into their whole catalog of physical NES games to see if there are any other problems. Yeah, I don't understand the technical side of it, but it seems there's some issue with voltage. There's just some sort of voltage problem that could potentially cause damage to your system if you use the cartridges over a long enough period of time. So that's a shame. Hopefully they can figure that out and prevent it from happening in the future. Lego leaker Falcon Brick Studios claims that the Lego Game Boy that's coming in October this year may actually be fairly small and affordable. The Lego NES was 2,646 pieces, and it seems that the Lego Game Boy may just be 421 pieces and retail at $59.99, which, yeah, for a Lego product and a premium Nintendo product, that would be fairly affordable, and I guess it makes sense. It's the Game Boy. It's fairly small, so that's nice. You know, they make it a little smaller, a little cheaper, a little more accessible. In other news, Lego Game Boy. When did they announce that? Was I like taking a little break or something? I've been trying to like take more time off. I completely missed this. When did they post this tweet? January 9th is when they posted this tweet, but they revealed, did they reveal it in December? I literally never, this is the first I've seen. This is literally the first I've seen about Lego Game Boy. Somehow missed that entire, like they announced it when I was taking a day off, and then nobody talked about it after that day or something. So that's exciting. Lego Game Boy, cool. So Donkey Kong Country Returns HD has been on the market for a while now, and we don't have like any solid like overall numbers. It's really hard to kind of paint a picture of how well a game is doing based on data from individual territories. So all I'm gonna say right now is seems to be doing okay. seems to be selling decently well. So I don't know, good for it, I guess. Slightly less good if you consider that it's such a low effort and kind of disappointing port. So if it does really well, that really does send a message to Nintendo that doesn't matter at all. But on the other hand, a Donkey Kong game selling well is good because it means people like to buy Donkey Kong games. Nintendo should make more Donkey Kong games. In other Donkey Kong related news, Nike is putting out a DK inspired set of sneakers, which is, I guess it's not really surprising. I don't know, I should say surprising, but at this point, nothing surprises me anymore. And I gotta say, these sneakers, they're something else. They really are. Kind of looks like DK fur on the outside. The Nike swoosh is like kind of blocky. Apparently it's like a low resolution texture on the insoles. I like that. That's my favorite little detail there. We need more low res texture love just in the world. I love it. If I want to be slightly cynical, I could not possibly encourage anybody to purchase a pair of Nike sneakers. Really couldn't. But DK sneakers, cool, I guess. Developer Good Feel, who does a lot of work with Nintendo, most famously Kirby's Epic Yarn, and most recently Princess Peach Showtime, they are hiring in a number of different departments across multiple offices, designing, planning, programming, web design, project management, all sorts of stuff. So that's fun. Good to see them growing again. They do and have done a lot of work with Nintendo, and especially with the next generation coming around. Maybe they're looking to ramp things up. Fun. I'm very much looking forward to Pipe Cleaner Star Fox. Let's close things out with a pretty good chunk of Pokemon related news. Niantic, who develops Pokemon Go, it looks like they're in talks to sell their entire games unit. I don't really know what else Niantic does besides games. I guess they do a lot of other like tech-related stuff. But it seems they are looking to potentially just sell off the whole games thing, just as a whole. And rumor has it the games division may be expected to sell for as much as $3.5 billion. Wow. And big surprise, rumor says they will be selling to Scopely, which is a subsidiary of Savvy Games Group, which is a subsidiary of Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. Pokemon recently released their latest TCG expansion, Prismatic Evolutions, and this is another thing that is I'm overdue on doing a video on it, because it's the whole situation is an absolute mess. They have never made a set with just like more I don't know what even, just crazy rare stuff, all these really super fancy alternate art, everything, all of these super rare things to collect. And the more they lean into that stuff, the more of a craze this becomes, the more they empower the scalpers. Like, it's not enough to just sell cards anymore. It all has to be based on, yeah, but you gotta get the extra super duper special one. This one Pokemon comes with 17 different editions of varying rarities, and it's just, I don't know, they're really dropping the ball there. Like, I get, like, on some level this stuff is fun, but like, I don't know, it really is encouraging scalpers like never before. And so the whole entire situation, people even just trying to get their hands on product at all, it's just been a nightmare. GameStop has announced that they're gonna just stop allowing pre-orders on Pokemon TCG product, which is absolutely the right move. No pre-orders, and also a hard limit on a number of products that you can purchase, so those are good things. Let's talk about Game, though, like the UK games retailer, Game. Employees revealed that when purchasing even like small little packs of cards, Game was automatically adding on a 20-pound oversized delivery fee. Like their standard shipping costs are usually £4.99, and just this product, it just happens to be the Pokemon product that everybody was trying to get their hands on, 20 pounds, which, what is that, like 25 bucks, 20 something bucks? Clearly, like just clear as day, brazenly, just trying to exploit their customers, just trying to make extra money from the whole entire craze. Really, really awful and disgusting behavior. Seems whenever employees ask their managers about this, they would just say, I don't know, but it's the way they're doing it. It's clearly intentional. And after all of this backlash, Game has finally caved and reverted back to like the standard shipping fee or whatever. But like, man, I mean, like, there's already plenty of reasons not to buy from companies like GameStop very much included, pretty much all of these game retailers, but like, that's awful. That is a level of awful that's just like, I don't think I would be comfortable buying literally anything from them ever again. That is just purely evil. But that's just me. In other news, it seems that Pokemon has finally won their lawsuit against a Chinese mobile developer. Pokemon was suing them because of their game Pocket Monster Remake. And judging by screenshots, this is not a Pal World thing. This is the definition of a ripoff. Like, it's taking assets, it's taking designs, it's taking words. There's just like, yeah, that's just a Squirtle. They're just fighting with a Squirtle. Yeah, that's just Ash Ketchum. Just clear as day. And it seems that this has been an ongoing battle, which is a little confusing. I don't know how the other company could possibly defend itself. I don't know. I suppose maybe its angle was like, oh, of course we ripped them off, but we, for whatever legal reasons, still should not be held accountable. I really don't know. I don't know what their angle was. Originally, Pokemon was seeking $70 million in damages. We don't know how things eventually shook out. However, we do know at least that it was a, quote, substantial economic price. I'm sure it was. And speaking of Pal World, the whole lawsuit going on, Nintendo is trying to get a bunch of patents confirmed to help in their case against Pal World. But it seems that a lot of them were approved, but one was rejected on 22 of its 23 claims. That seemed like it could be a pretty big setback and potentially compromise their entire case, but Japanese patent attorney Kiyoshi Kurihara did an interview with Yahoo Japan and says, nah, it's just a part of the process. There are a lot of different ways that they can just kind of keep revising and renewing these things, so like, don't worry. Nintendo's not out of the race yet. Whoa. The delightful, the just overwhelmingly delightful stop-motion show Pokemon Concierge, which up until now has been a Netflix exclusive, is temporarily available to watch on YouTube in celebration of Pokemon Day, which is great if you don't have a Netflix subscription, which you shouldn't. I shouldn't. They hiked the prices again. I'm looking at probably canceling. Point is, you can't cancel the OA and then expect me to pay more money. I'm sorry. Anyway, it'll all be available on YouTube until March 9th, so get watching. And then, as you probably know by now, because it is the 25th at the time of this recording, and you will probably be watching this on the 26th, a Pokemon Presents presentation has been announced for Pokemon Day, the 27th of February, 2025. I really, really do like that Pokemon has been so consistent with that. You know, there's always like, oh, the anniversary of this thing. Will Nintendo do a direct? Or, you know, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But no, Pokemon, they're really, really consistent with those February 27th presentations. I like that. We don't know precisely what will be in the presentation. However, I think we can be pretty darn sure we're gonna finally get our first look at Pokemon Legends ZA, so that is very, very exciting. And there's a rumor. I was kind of hesitant to mention it because, like, I don't know, it really is just like a person saying a thing, and it didn't even make the rounds on other news sites that I saw, but whatever, we'll throw it on here. Hidden Power Podcast claims that the presentation will reveal a classic Pokemon port collection. They say it's going to contain games from generations 1 through 3. This will include Pokemon Memories, which is Red, Gold, Ruby, and Fire Red, Pokemon Reminiscence, which is Blue, Silver, Sapphire, and Leaf Green, Yellow, Crystal, and Emerald for digital purchase, Pokemon Home support, March 13th release date. I think this is not likely. I think that if the Pokemon Company does start toying with re-releasing the old games, they're not gonna give us like this big, huge collection with like a whole bunch of them. I don't know if I see that happening. Points for creativity, though. Splitting, like, the half and the half, the memories and the reminiscence. That's pretty cool. That's fun. Well, that's it for this edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. I hope that you are doing well today, and I hope that you continue to do well for the rest of the day and tomorrow as well. Thank you. That's my official sign off.